It was 2 a.m. at night when Peter, an Uber cab driver, was sitting in his car waiting for his last duty. It was late, and he was feeling very sleepy. Just as he was about to doze off, his phone rang. Someone had booked a taxi nearby. To shake off his sleep, Peter splashed some water on his face and began to drive to the pickup location, which was about 1.5 kilometers away. Following the directions, Peter took a left turn, only to find himself on a desolate path. The road was a bit rough and completely dark, but Peter just wanted to complete his last ride and go home. Without thinking much, he drove on. The booking was under the name Rajiv, and upon reaching the pickup location, Peter saw a girl in a beautiful blue Western dress who waved him down. It looked like she had just come from a late-night party or was heading to one. Instead of sitting in the back seat, she got into the front seat, which felt a bit odd because usually female passengers sit in the back, especially when alone. However, Peter ignored this and started the trip. The girl's destination was a hospital a few kilometers away. Seeing the hospital address, Peter couldn't help but ask why she was going there at such a late hour, and if everything was all right. Initially, the girl ignored him, but after a while, she said her husband was admitted there. Hearing this, Peter felt sympathy for her. The girl sat silently, staring out of the window, and Peter sensed she was upset, so he decided not to talk much either. After some time, the girl spoke again, saying, "2 years ago on this very day, my husband and I were returning from a party just like this. We were so happy." But before she could finish, she fell silent. Peter was a bit uneasy as he glanced at her in the rearview mirror and was shocked to see that the girl wasn't reflected there. Cold sweat broke out on Peter. The girl sitting next to him didn't seem ordinary. She was possibly a wandering spirit. Peter tried to regain his composure and thought of a plan. Suddenly he slammed the brakes, bringing the car to a jarring stop. The girl glared at him, and nervously he stepped out of the car to check it, thinking he'd say it broke down and call another cab for her. But when he turned back, the girl was nowhere to be seen. Fear gripped him, and he hurriedly got back into the car and sped off, wanting nothing more than to get home quickly. Suddenly, the girl appeared in front of his car. As soon as Peter stopped, her form changed into a horrifying witch. Summoning his courage, he started the car and sped past her, driving at almost 130 kilometers per hour. Moments later, when Peter glanced in the rearview mirror, he saw the girl chasing after him. No matter how fast he drove, she kept up. Terrified, he stopped looking back. The road was on fire on both sides, and the girl gave him a terrifying look. Peter lost control of the steering, and his car crashed into a divider. Strangely, it was right at the spot where the girl's destination was. Hearing the crash, some hospital staff rushed to Peter, who was unconscious and injured. The witch had vanished. After being admitted to the hospital, when Peter regained consciousness, he asked a nurse if a man named Rajiv was admitted. The nurse looked surprised, and after hearing Peter's story, she told him that 2 years ago, on the same night he had his accident, Rajiv had a similar accident and was critically injured along with his wife. Rajiv didn't survive, but the doctors managed to save his wife. She said that on the night of the accident, Rajiv had been drinking and was being rude, which led to their crash. Soon after, it was discovered that the shock of Rajiv's death had caused his wife to take her own life by stepping in front of a car. Hearing this made Peter's heart race. The drunk driver was none other than his own brother, who became paralyzed after the accident. He hadn't known that his brother had caused the deaths of 2 people. It dawned on him that the girl he had picked up was the spirit of Rajiv's wife, seeking revenge for what had happened. That night, Peter survived, but after that experience, he never drove again, as he knew he could never forget the horrors of that tragic incident.